don't think I'd like to learn everything.
No.
I wouldn't want to know everything in life.
No.
It's like, I think I thought to
I think that's also what kind of makes life interesting as well. It's like, for people like me and you and other people out there, you know, not everyone, but a lot of people, you know, I think a lot of us are just on that endless goal of just trying to, like you said, just trying to learn more. You know what I mean? Like, we have like a desire to want to, you know, have more knowledge and information, if you see what I mean. Like, it's not even for an egotistical purpose or a prideful purpose or anything like that. It's just literally, I think some people just have a craving for knowledge and information, and just want to know more, want to become more enlightened in life through, you know, learning about different topics and different shit, you know, depending on what, you know, whatever it is, you know, whatever kind of floats your boat, you know what I mean? So,
I mean, another thing to learn about, you could learn another language, do you know what I mean?
oh, true, yeah.
And
yeah.
I googled it once or something, because I was sort of learning about languages.
Yeah.
And if you know 2 languages, it opens your mind up more, apparently, you know what I mean? It makes you more...
Definitely.
You know, but...
It opens up different pathways in your brain. Yeah.
But
it's like, even today, they say you can do things like, if you're a right-handed person, yeah, like me, I'm a right-handed person, predominantly it's my right hand, yeah.
I'm a left-handed.
So, whenever I brush my teeth, whenever I brush my teeth, let's say for example, I will always use my right hand. But if I start using my left hand, you know, the next time tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day going forward, I start using my left hand, say for example, and start using my left hand and brush my teeth and doing other things, making that my predominant hand, that then also does the same thing. If you see what I mean, opens up different pathways within the brain. If you see what I mean, because you're doing things differently to how you did it before, how you've always done it, and now you're doing it a slightly different way. If you see what I mean, so it does something to the brain where it triggers the brain to open up these different, like you said, different pathways and different, you know. So. Yeah.
I mean, it's like me, I'm left-handed, yeah.
Yeah.
And I can remember at school, it was a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
I mean, the teachers made, you know, they found it very difficult and hard work, all right, because I was left-handed.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think they did with all children, all right. Anyone that's left-handed wants to write the other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I found it very impossible. Do you know what I mean? That's why I found it very difficult. Do you know what I mean? Reading and writing, you know, it's something I've learned myself. Do you know what I mean? In the last 20 years or so. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but it's only because I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
You know, you know, like they used to chop people's hands off in this country if they're left-handed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you know, the Arabs write the other way around. You see, you know, if I was born in that country, or there's some countries that write the other way.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's easier for the left-hander.
Okay.
You see.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I was born left-handed. And they were trying to make me go right-handed. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
You know, and it does. They say that left-handers are more artistic.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, they're not. They don't. You know, I can't explain it. You know, but they reckon sort of they use this side of the brain or something, and the right-handers use the other side of the brain. Whether I don't believe that myself. Okay. I think the brain's one thing myself. Do you know what I mean? But I do understand that. I mean, when I was a left-hander, okay, well, you know, I'm being honest with you, when I was at school, this is how bad schools were in my day, and I'm not joking with you. Because when I went up to the seniors, this is coming out of the juniors school, okay, so I went up to the juniors, and, you know, because I couldn't read very well, they put me in the bottom set, alright, and there were 7 different sets, yeah, you had the top set, and I was right down the bottom set because I couldn't read.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was very good at maths and very good at art, but I couldn't read, so they put me in the bottom set.
Yeah.
And all the other kids would look at those children as dunces.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, and I think, why do they do this? You know, to children, separate them like this. You know, because I'm still human. I've still got a soul. I've still got feelings. You know, I've still got hands and feet just like everyone else. But I'm left-handed. I can't read very well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they stuck me down the bottom set, and I can remember writing stories, and they put a red mark through it, saying that's not right, you know. And it's like, you know, it's sort of like the worst, you know, the worst way to teach children, basically, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way, you know, and it's like competition and all this sort of stuff. I don't like it at all.
Mm.
Competition, you know.
Yeah.
It's I find competition in a funny way, competitive, you know, and all this sort of stuff, is what made the world it is today.
Yeah.
In a funny way, you know.
Yeah.
Not a nice world, you know what I mean?
Mm.
You know, and I think like separating me like that and putting me in a bottom set for a number of years, I was really trying to learn as much as I could, alright, yeah.
Mm.
But they wouldn't move me out of it, you know, so I was in the bottom set all my life, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I found it difficult getting a job, do you know what I mean? You know, when I left school, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's just unfair for children, you know, I'm a child, for goodness sake, you know, do you know what I mean? I think,
Yeah.
but what the point I was getting to, because I sometimes rabble on a bit, and, you know, like, they found out, because I remember these people coming around, I don't know who they were, but, you know, I remember them, the teacher, but they were doing a little study about left-handers, and they found out that most of the left-handers were in the bottom set.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, they were very good at English.
Okay. Yeah.
They were better at art as well. Whatever,
Yeah.
you know. I can remember that, though, do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, I was in the seniors then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of, I can't remember so much in the juniors, but I can remember that, you know, those people coming around and doing a little survey. And they said there was a lot more left-handers in the bottom set that can, you know, find it a struggle to read and write, you know.
Okay.
I think I found it a struggle because I was left-handed.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very difficult to write. I had to bend my hand round. When I write, I bend my hand round like that, so I can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean.
You know, you can't see what you do, you see. You
Yeah.
know, the way they want you to write. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you have to bend your hand right round, and you know.
Well, as I say, my mum's left-handed as well, and my youngest sister.
Does she bend her hand round like that?
No, no.
Well, you know,
But
like,
my youngest sister as well. My youngest sister as well. She's left-handed. You know, it's as well. It's quite funny. Yeah.
but they really literally punish children if you can't read and write. That's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of like, you know, if you can't read and write in this world,
You're not going to survive.
you're very lost. You know what I mean?
Very lost.
It's a very hard world if you can't read and write.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Mm.
And I did find it tough actually when I left school. Do you know what I mean? I had to get a low-paid job and whatever.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why we don't reward all children, because they're all beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and rather than giving, I mean, this all happened from the Olympic Games. I'm telling you, giving gold medals to all the best stars and all this. Do you know what I mean? All this stuff, and we had to look up to all the heroes and all this. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
I think also it's part of man's nature in a way too, in a sense too. Though. I think man has always been competitive.
Yeah, but only in a fun way. You know, I think in a fun way.
Yeah.
You know, like children, really, right? To the age they're 14, say, they should be just playing in the playground. Do you know what I mean? They shouldn't be sat down.
Yeah.
You know, learning about bullshit or whatever.
Mm.
You know, I think you should only start learning when you're 14. Do you know what I mean? You know, really, about history and all this sort of stuff. You know, I think that's when you're ready to learn. Before that, you should play.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be a world where the adults used to play as well, and the children used to play, but that's not the case anymore. Do you know what I mean? We can't play, we've all got work, you know, in this world.
Yeah, all too busy today, too distracted.
Yeah, you know, we ain't got time for our own family, you know, like we said in the previous episode, you know, like you work a number of hours, you go home, you go sleep, your wife's working, you know, and you barely see each other, you know, unless you have a holiday.
Yeah.
You know, or unless there's a bank holiday or something, do you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
It's a nightmare for everyone, you know, you can't be a family anymore. We're not a family anymore, we've all been separated.
You make the most of the time that you do have, if you see what I mean, but even then, like you said, even then it's still little, you know. You make the most of the little bit of time that you do have together with your wife and your kids and your family and whatever else. But
that's right, you know.
It's still, like you said, still though, it's not a lot of time. Yeah.
No, and it's a bit.
Our lives are consumed, aren't they? Yeah.
I think it's a bit frustrating for people where they can't be together. You know, like I said, you know, we've said in previous episodes again. that we've said that being financially free gives you the power to be together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And, you know, you can stay at home
Yeah.
with your children.
Yeah.
And just be a better father, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
To your own children, but we're living in a world where you can't be a good father or you can't be a good mother because you've got to go to work. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you can do your best.
Yeah, you can do your best.
You do. I think you say. I don't think it takes away. I don't think having to do that takes away from the mother or father, though. You know, that is just the reality of life. You know, you do your best. It's like I do. Like for me, like my wife always says to me, like you're a great father. Like every like I remember like even recently, like when my daughter started nursery, I said to my wife, like on the days that I'm off, I'd much rather her be at home with me than than having to go to nursery. You know, if I'm off, I'll have her at home with me during the day while my son's at school or whatever, and we'll do instead of her going to nursery. You know, so yeah, I'd much rather spend that time with my kids, if you see what I mean.
But really, ideally, when you like a farm and away from everyone, alright?
Yeah, well,
not send your children to school, okay? And
well,
then educating yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of world. I think that's what world we all wanted.
Oh yeah. If you're financially free to the point where you could choose, like, to live kind of like self-sufficient and have like your own education system for your kids and whatever else, then.
You know, wouldn't it be good if we didn't have those schools and we didn't have to send our children to school and, you know, we could educate our children ourselves, but you know.
Yeah.
So, like, say some parents are not educated.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, when they have a baby, alright, they're not educated about life or let alone themselves or anything, you know, before they even taken on a baby. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a big problem to society, I think, you know. Lots of people are having babies today when they haven't got no education whatsoever about anything, you know. Like they might not even know to cook, do you know what I mean? And they're having a baby.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I think that's the case, you know. And that's what I think about education, all this school and all this, you know. And I think you know, they don't educate people's about, like I say, emotions and all this, you know, and respect. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Real stuff. Yeah. Real. Let's get real, you know. Yeah. Let's get real with our children and educate them. You know, the truth. You know, whatever. And then, you know, if we're going to educate them the truth and all that, they'll be brought up educated. Do you know what I mean? Well educated. Do you know what I mean? You know, I just think it's sad, really, that like. You know, when I look at all my teachers, and that, you know, they were trying their best in their own way, you know, and they had a job to do, you know, one was teaching English, one was teaching history, you know, and they kind of fed up with their job in a funny way.
Oh yeah.
They couldn't wait to get home.
Yeah.
You know, or be on holiday, do you know what I mean? They were tired of their job too in a funny way, you know, and putting up lots of children every day.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
You know what I mean?
We used to have a lot of teachers that had that attitude, you know.
Well, sometimes you get a good teacher.
You used to have the good ones too, of course. Yeah, you always have good ones, but you also, like you said, you also get the ones that used to have the attitude of like they couldn't care less if you were there or not, like, you know.
Yeah, or some had ego, or some had this. Do you know what I mean? You had kind of, you know, like when you get a teacher, you don't know who they're going to be. Yeah. You know, if you get a history teacher, you don't know what kind of history teacher they are. Yeah. Or how knowledgeable they are. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, or when you get an English teacher, you know, they might be a lazy person that, you know, just wants a job for the money and don't like children. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You know, and they're pretty nasty to children, you know. I say, you know, teachers are very important too, aren't they, really, when you think about it, you know.
Of course, yeah, especially the very good teachers out there that play an instrumental part in a lot of children's lives today, you know, that really want to see their students excel and do well, and are very encouraging and very patient and nurturing with children, you know what I mean? So there are some fantastic teachers out there, you know. I must say, like, even my son, for a few years running now, he's had some really fantastic teachers, you know. You can tell they all genuinely care about your child's education and you know, etc., if you see what I mean. You know, they're not like, you know, you could tell, you know, you can always tell when people are invested into what they do and they kind of love what they do and they really are passionate about what they do. And I must say, all the teachers that I've met so far that have been educating my son since he's been in the junior school, I must say all of them were very, very good. If you see what I mean, you can tell they all love their job. If you see what I mean, like, you know, and they try their best to, you know, to keep all of their kids happy and, you know, whatever, you know. So.
You know, when I was at school, I think most of my teachers are okay, but apart from the first one,
yeah.
you know, I think it's in my first years at school, she locked me up, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I say, you don't know what teacher you're going to get.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, it's very important. I think they're sort of a bit better.
Well, I was going to say, can you imagine that happening today, mate? Can you imagine the outrage and the imagine if someone was to do that today, mate, was to lock a child in the cupboard today, you know?
Well, I expect it happens in places.
I'm sure it happens in some places, but I'm just saying if that was to happen today, mate, the outrage and the outcry that on a global scale that would happen is, you know, phenomenal, you know? But obviously back then that was, you know, that used to happen a lot, quite frequently, you know? Sometimes they didn't know how to deal with kids or how to deal with children. You know what I mean? That might be slightly different from the others or whatever the case may be. So they just resorted to doing things that they, you know, locking them up. You know what I mean? Giving them bloody medications and shit. You know what I mean? Keeping them like docile and kind of like, you know. So yeah. But yeah. Education is absolutely pivotal to anyone's life in any way, shape or form. You know, I think, personally, I think the more educated you are, the more basically means the more informed you are about what's really going on in your life and the world that you live in and the reality in which you exist, if you see what I mean. So yeah, you know, I think to me, education is super important, you know. I think, you know, like we always say, you know, no one can ever know everything. You know, there's so much out there to know and to understand, if you see what I mean. And the reality is that we will always gravitate towards stuff, you know what I mean, that interests us. You know, things we're passionate about. So yeah, you know. We all get to choose what we want to educate ourselves about, you know, and that's a fantastic thing, you know. You know, because if we all thought the same and did the same things and wanted to know the same things, it'd be a bit boring, you know. That's the beauty of it, you know. That's why, as human beings, it's good to have interactions. It's good to be able to communicate, you know. You might be good in your field of work, and you'll meet someone who's exceptionally great in their field of work, if you see what I mean. And you might become friends, and then you might be able to help each other, you know. Like say, oh mate, I need you to come and lay some bricks around my house or something, or whatever. You're a bricklayer, you know. I say, oh mate, you're a plumber, you know. I mean, my toilet just broke down, or my shower needs fixing or something. Oh mate, can you come around and fix my shower? Yeah. Like, you know.
It's a good thing, isn't it? When you meet somebody, and you get on with them, you know, and you both got different gifts, I suppose.
Yeah, you can help each other.
Yeah, it's a good thing. You know, and I think, like, especially if you're, you know, like, I think like a lot of people are not educated out there.
Yeah. I
really do. You know, and I think it's, you know, it's partly why the world is like it is.
Oh, true, yeah.
I think people are waking up slowly.
Definitely. I was just going to say, I think people are becoming more and more educated today. You know, I think people are becoming a lot more...
With the help of the internet.
With the help of the internet, most definitely. I think a lot of people are becoming a lot more conscious today. You know, people are a lot more aware of the world that we live in and what's really going on, you know.
I think the shutdown actually woke a lot of people down.
Oh, yeah. I think that helped. That did help. Because you know why that helped? Because a lot of people thought that would never ever happen. If you see what I mean, that they would never do that. But it happened on a global scale, you know.
Well, I didn't realise it's kind of happened before, you know.
It has.
With the Spanish flu, you know, it was kind of half a world shutdown, do you know what I mean? That spread to America and all that, you know, they shut down half America because of that, do you know what I mean? But we weren't really aware of it, you know. you know, and it wasn't on the news, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but that was kind of like a world shutdown back then. You know, millions of people died back then.
Yeah.
Especially in Italy.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. It's not the first time. I think even the Black Plague was kind of like a little bit of a shutdown.
Yeah.
You know, the government was shutting down parts of this country, you know, and whatever.
Yeah.
And France was, you know, whatever, you know, there's lots of cities were affected with the Black Plague.
Yeah.
You know, and that was going back 500 years ago, do you know what I mean? So I think there's, you know, it's kind of like a bit of a government control with diseases, you know, something, you know, it's been going on for many years.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, I think you think about all these masks and rubber gloves and that, you know, where are they made? That's what you got to think.
True.
You know, where are they being made in America?
No, no.
You know, I don't know. You know, that's another question.
I was going to say, if I tell you what, mate, the person that ever invested some money in any of those companies, or owned one of those companies, whatever, that produces those things, they must have made an absolute fortune, mate, like I said before, you know.
Guess what? It was me.
During that...
It's me. I made the rubber glove and the condoms. That's why I'm so rich. That's why I'm retired today.
Yeah.
I made the condom.
You own the patent, do you? Yeah. But yeah, if you own one of those companies, I tell you what, whoever did own any of those companies made an absolute, you know, fortune during those 2.5 years.
I think he owns the moon now. He's bought the moon.
Possibly.
He can afford to buy the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine how many gloves and masks, mate, were sold worldwide during that time period. Not before and after, but just during that time period alone. If you see what I mean. Yeah.
And I think it's quite sad, really, by, you know, rubber, how is it made?
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's not nice.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, like, the world, talking about education, you know, wouldn't it be good if everybody was educated, you know what I mean? You know, like, understood things, you know, and, like,